my dreams, I can levitate. Always have been able to. I can't fly, that nonsense is for dreamers. No, I can just lift off the ground and hang there, maybe 6 feet from the deck. Sometimes I go up as much as 10 feet, but never much farther. This serves no actual purpose. I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not taking advantage of my elevation to pick apples, or peep in second-story windows, or avoid anything on the ground. I'm just levitating. I'm convinced after spending a couple days in the Nevada desert with Ford's newest F-150 Raptor that it harbors similar dreams. In its promotional materials, Ford habitually shows the Raptor, both this generation and the last, leaping into the air, big wheels dangling. The corporation invariably notes that these shots are achieved through digital photo manipulation or were performed by a professional driver on a closed course. Curiously, the company sometimes mentions both provisos. But make no mistake, this beefed-up, desert running, high-speed brute dreams of air as surely as I do. And so, in preparation for this desert drive, I readied myself by conjuring up visions of our Ubayad Raptor suspended in mid-air, while the Mojave Desert streamed by underneath like a treadmill of rock and dust and crispy creosote bushes, and, sure, why not an adorable desert bunny or two. The not quite 400, we aim to retrace the route of the early Mint 400 races, but development in adult memories meant that we could only stitch together pieces of the original 68 race, mostly along the Nevada-California border. In reality, it's not quite like that. The leap is more like a short guitar lick rising away from the chugging rhythm of the ground, which keeps pace with the truck until the 5,700 pounds of badassery rejoins the shuffle. It never lasts long enough, the moment of giddy weightlessness. I solved this problem by doing it again and again and again until even our photographer had lost interest and refused to be a party to whatever might happen next. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're here to test this new Raptor on the land for which it was created. We're roughly retracing the route taken by the early Mint 400 off-road races. The same basic route on which Parnelli Jones ripped all the wheels off the specially prepared Bronco he drove in the inaugural event in 1968. I call a flow at the rims, he would later tell the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The same event that used to hand out commemorative decanters filled with Jim Beam. The event that Hunter S. Thompson famously didn't actually cover in his book, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The same event that, in 1981, hired an almost distressingly hot Vanna White as a trophy girl. We had no doctor of journalism, no lawyer, no Parnelli, not even Miss White accompanying us. Instead, riding right seat was Darrell Folks, one-time desert motorcycle racer, current Nevada Adventure Motorcycle Tour operator, and the son of Casey Folks, a longtime Mint 400 competitor and the organizer of the current Mint 400. We started from Fremont Street, aka Glitter Gulch, the historical starting point of the early races. The Mint Hotel and Casino, which created the race as a promotional stunt, has long since vanished from the scene. Today, Fremont Street greets us with a presumably homeless young man holding a handwritten cardboard sign reading "Kick me in the balls for $1" and a restaurant that promises a free meal to anyone who weighs more than 350 pounds. In the almost 50 years since the first race, Las Vegas has metastasized aggressively, so our dirt drivers to wait. We need to take a clotted expressway out to our starting point some 100 miles northwest of the city, in the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Refuge. Even on the open highway, the Raptor feels massive. In town, it feels roughly the same size as a garbage truck. And, keep in mind, we're piloting the less enormous of the two available Raptors, the SuperCab. The Super Crew version, with its 4 full-size, front-hinged doors, stretches an extra 11.9 inches over our truck's already lengthy 220. But it's not the length of the thing that poses a problem, it's the engorged body and its trophy truck-like box-flood fenders that make it so intimidating as a crosstown companion. At 86.3 inches, the Raptor is more than 6 inches wider than the already plenty bulky F-150. This is not to say that the Raptor is slow or ponderous. Ford deleted the 6.2-litre V8 that powered most of the last generation of Raptors and bolted in its place a pumped-up version of its twin-turbo 3.5-litre V6, now with direct and port injection and 18 pounds per square inch of boost. The new lump, which looks tiny buried in the engine bay behind an intake pipe that's about as fat and attractive as a sewer main, brings newfound muscle. Its 450 horsepower and 510 lb-ft of torque easily beat the V8's output by 39 horsepower and 76 lb-ft. Combined with a weight savings of 404 pounds compared with the last Raptor SuperCab we tested thanks aluminium, the Raptor is no longer just ballsy for a truck, it's a genuinely quick machine, period. This 5,696-pound linebacker barrels to 60 miles per hour in 5.0 seconds and on through the quarter mile in 13.7 seconds at 100 miles per hour, and full throttle runs are accompanied by a genuinely thrilling intake and exhaust composition. Maybe we can live without the V8 after all. The Raptor's interior contains more knobs and buttons than the Ford Rouge Blanc. The 17-inch forged beadlock-capable wheels are a $1,165 option. What the numbers can't really tell you is that around town in a standard drive mode, one of 6 settings, the throttle response is pretty soft. You have to wait for the new automatic to shuffle through its 10 gears before deciding on one. And then you have to wait a step or two for the turbos to wind up to full force before the truck gets to hustling. Call up Sport mode with the steering wheel mounted rocker switch, which modifies the transmission's shift map and sensitizes the throttle pedal, and some of that delay is eliminated. We took to using Sport for all-around town driving. Out on US 95, the Raptor clocks along happily at 85 miles per hour. It's stable at speed. Its dedicated sport seats, with additional side bolstering, are firm and comfy. Even the knobby BF Goodrich K02 tires are well behaved. There's no perceptible tire hum. The truck's relatively soft suspension setup and those standard, dedicated off-road tires mean that it can manage only 0.68 grams of grip on the skid pad. But that's enough for day-to-day work. The tires also surely compromise braking performance. The Raptor needs 206 feet of roadway to stop from 70 miles per hour. That's 4 feet longer than what the older, heavier truck could manage. If you want better on-road braking performance, you would need to mount dedicated street tires. And then what would be the point of the Raptor? The Raptor might be a big lug in the city, but out in the hinterlands of the Nevada Mojave, where guys run for public office wearing cowboy hats and mustaches, the truck gets small quickly. Of course, plopped down in the middle of this soundless desert, everything but the desert itself seems small. The vast desert floor covered in creosotes, salt bushes, and yuccas looks like a nubby Berber carpet as seen from a bug's eye. The surrounding mountains are great piles of ground cinnamon, cocoa powder, and unbleached flour. Sounds comforting, right? It is, until you realize that everything that lives out here is weaponized with needles, stingers, fangs, or firearms. But the Raptor pays no mind. Out here, it's a toy in a sandbox. It's a leaping, bounding dust devil of inexhaustible energy and movement. We locked the terrain response system in Baja mode, which relaxes the traction and stability control systems, puts the vehicle in four-wheel drive high, and commands the transmission to upshift as infrequently as possible, but to do so very quickly when it does. With the front wheels engaged in power delivery and with power between them passed out by an optional Torsen limited slip differential, the Raptor simply tears the crust off the desert floor, leaving behind dust as fine as talcum hanging high in the still air. Most of the trails we encountered could be traversed by a standard four-wheel drive F-150. We know because we had one along as a chase vehicle. And it got through with only one punctured tire. Though it survived mostly intact, the F-150 was slow and uncomfortable, with its passengers' heads whipping violently from side to side in concert with every lump and ridge on the trail. The Raptor, on the other hand, takes most of the beating for you. Its big, aluminium lower control arms and rear solid axle pumping furiously up and down but leaving the body more or less level. This allows for speed, stupid, glorious speed. At one point on the section of trail just south of Pahrump, we peeked at the speedometer to find we were bullying down a path roughly the width of one Raptor at 85 miles per hour. As far as we know, this is legal. In Baja mode or the similar mud-sun mode which locks the rear differential, the truck resolutely refused to upshift. Instead, it just ran the engine near redline, goading us. The Raptor drifts gently across the rocky crust. There are dry wash ditches that present themselves with no notice, requiring a firm jam of the brake pedal. The tail of the truck wiggles, the front tires drop into the ditch and then bound the truck upward, and the engine is still on boil, ready for you to jump back into the power.